Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at what the price is doing and also the Bitcoin price, and let's go right into it. What we can see, everything's in the red. I talked about in the last two videos, I talked about the slightly bearish indicators on the Cardano chart, and this morning I said there's a breakout happening, and it did. You can clearly see that on the hourly chart. We're going to go through that. It happened to the downside. I did say in that video, for me it looked like a little bit more bearish, so I expected something to the downside, but really I said I don't know. It's sometimes very difficult to predict, but yeah, with the indicators it looked a little bit more bearish, and unfortunately it has played out like that. As a summary, I did say in previous videos as well that I think that drop might not be over yet, and it might be a sort of longer consolidation. I'm not talking about a new bear market, oh no, but I'm talking about a consolidation which might take a little bit. So let's take a look at Bitcoin first, because Cardano unfortunately still is too dependent on Bitcoin. And don't worry, I won't spend too much time on Bitcoin, but what Bitcoin is doing at the moment, yeah, Papa John's. No, what Bitcoin is doing at the moment is we've got something like, that's actually called a rectangle pattern. A rectangle pattern is a trend continuation pattern. And even though on the daily we are technically still in an uptrend, even though we are now below the 20-day moving average, on the shorter term time frames we are not. And I personally would say that we haven't seen the worst yet. That is clearly a rectangle pattern. A rectangle pattern, especially visible on the hourly here now, is basically when the price is basically moving in a sideways direction. It's a pause of a trend. And it means that it happens when yeah, support and resistance levels are basically hit various times and touched various times. So if I take a look at this rectangle, we can clearly see that we touched that support and resistance level multiple times. There was one attempted breakout to the downside already. Now that did fail. Oops. That did fail, but we can see that you can see that rectangle formation, and that is just what it is. It's typically a trend continuation pattern. And if we take a look here on the 4-hour chart, for example, I did tell you yesterday that we were looking slightly bearish. The ADX is showing we're in a bearish trend, only a minor trend, slight trend. But of course, that is only showing that because we are moving sideways at the moment. But before that, we had a lot of bearish move here to the downside. So in my opinion, unfortunately, I think that isn't over yet. I think we might drop a little bit more if that patterns play out as they usually do. So, for example, if you wanted to trade it, then you would wait until the candle closes below that line or even above that line. You know, it always can go the other way as well. But in this case, it would be, for me, a bearish pattern, a bearish trend continuation pattern, because we have seen that trend to the downside and we are below the moving averages here on the 1-hour chart actually. So yeah, on the short-term point of view, definitely bearish. That is what it shows. Also, the RSI is showing that. I don't want to spend too much time, but it is doing a rectangle pattern. If we take a look at ADA, it's actually doing the same. So this morning I talked about that we were moving into this a triangle, but I leave it on the chart because I want to show it to you on the hourly chart. But it has now moved into on the daily at least, currently into a triangle into a rectangle pattern as well. So it looks like we're doing the same thing like on Bitcoin, which again shows how dependent we are on Bitcoin still, unfortunately. And to be honest, the indicators on the daily don't look great. MACD even getting more bearish, getting more into the red. Okay, the RSI again below 50, indicating the bearish momentum, sort of. Yeah, we are in the bearish range. And also the ADX is showing that while the trend is slowing down, it's still a bearish trend. So yeah, it's not great. I expect a little bit more consolidation, as this morning, you know, it has played out to the downside. Here you can clearly see that we were forming this triangle, and these are really hard sometimes to say what's going on, but I did say in the end that it would be more likely to drop to the downside. It actually did. So we broke out of this triangle. You can see it clearer on the daily that it was really a breakout of that larger red candle, that engulfing red candle, which again is actually a confirmation that it goes further to the downside. On the 4-hour chart here, we have again the MACD line is still below the 0 line, and it's actually losing momentum again. It was going up a little bit, but it's losing momentum. We might get a bearish cross here again. The RSI below 50 as well, a downside, and then the ADX, the trend indicator, again losing, the trend strength is losing a little bit, but it's still a strong trend. But it's a trend to the downside that you can see here, because the red DI line is above the green DI line. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about here, check out my second channel. You can find a link in the description where I teach all these sessions about technical analysis and how to interpret these indicators. And I also talk about price action on its own. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. On the hourly, we can see that break out a little bit more clearly out of that triangle. We were climbing up that trend line, and then we had a breakout to the downside. Now again on the hourly, even more visible that another engulfing red candle. We can also see the Donchian channel here, and we are pushing that Donchian channel now with 2 touches to the downside. We are breaking into that Donchian channel, and normally that would indicate that you could enter a bear, a trade, a short trade. Well, I would never short ADA. I just tell you guys what I'm seeing here on the short term, and we can also see that by now breaking out to the downside, it might be something like a, well, it was quite clearly a rectangle pattern on the daily. That doesn't then automatically need to be a rectangle pattern on the hourly chart, but on the daily it looks like that, and it also depends on how the daily chart, the daily closes. So again, that rectangle pattern is a trend continuation pattern, and of course that we broke below this trend line today is not a good sign for Cardano. It just shows that at the moment it's just so depending on Bitcoin, and if that rectangle pattern on the Bitcoin chart plays out to the downside, as I think it might do, then it can be pretty certain that Cardano will suffer probably from that as well, just purely because Cardano is unfortunately so dependent on Bitcoin at the moment. So yeah, I'm not too confident on Cardano in the very short term. Of course, you know, Cardano is my biggest holding. I'm not worried about Cardano as a long-term holder anyway, not. And to be honest, with 246 where we are currently, it's still a really you know, just compared to where we were a month ago, guys. I just always want to remind you that yes, it's a bit depressing at the moment, I know that, but look at where we were on the 20th of August. We were even below that just not even a month ago. So guys, in my opinion, don't worry too much. And these are just, you know, the first thought that I had when the price dropped that fast, and honestly, I'm completely honest, is really that I was worried I didn't have enough money to buy more. And that is always what happens. I like to buy the dips. I like to dollar cost average, and these are the greatest opportunities for dollar cost averaging. Of course, I can't give you any financial advice here. Everybody needs to come to their own conclusions, and I only share my thoughts about these prices on this channel and the price moves and everything. And it can sometimes play out completely differently. So it's always advisable that you listen to a lot of people. I'm not claiming here that I'm always right, of course not, but I share my thoughts, I tell you what I see, also from my experience, and on my other channel I teach technical analysis. But yeah, unfortunately it's not looking too great. People are asking what's happening on the 12th. The truth is, nobody knows. I don't know. My current thought is that now that we've dropped actually before the 12th, I'm more confident that it may actually go up after the 12th. I don't think that it will go up straight on the 12th. I don't think that will happen. Again, I could be totally wrong, but it's oftentimes because many people think it will go up after the 12th, that then oftentimes not happens. I think it will go up after the 12th, but not directly on the 12th, and maybe not on the 13th, but maybe a few days afterwards or a couple of weeks afterwards, when really people can see that it's working, it's running, the demand for ADA coins is growing, and then I think it will go up. But it's certainly probably not when everybody is expecting it, because a lot of that anticipation is already priced in into the ADA price, I think. But yeah, short summary, I think it's not looking too good on the short term. In the long run, of course, very, very bullish on Cardano. And I'm still at dollar cost averaging. I think that's the best thing to do. I try to buy dips, of course. But again, as you can see here on the hourly, we've just crossed below the 0 line on the hourly on the MACD. It's not looking great. I think I expect a few more drops here or consolidations. You can also see that just when looking at the price action, that the downtrend was very strong. Quite the opposite what we had before, actually, where we had strong moves to the upside, slight consolidation, strong move to the upside. Obviously, we then went onto the top and the consolidations became stronger, but always here, strong move to the upside, slight consolidation, strong move to the upside, slight consolidation. And now it's the other way around. It was a strong move to the downside, only a slight consolidation to the upside, and it looks like we're breaking now down further. You can see that by breaking through that that support line, that diagonal one, and yeah, we could now drop to 220 in the I mean, we have some more support levels on the way. I did delete them to keep the chart clean, but I think here probably on the hourly we could say that 238 or so, or 239 is another support level, but I think 220 is the next main one. Then we have $2, and certainly I'm going to continue to buy more. Please don't understand it in a way that I say I'm bearish on Cardano. Absolutely not. But in the short term, I would expect some further consolidation. And unfortunately, we're all dependent on Bitcoin still, even though some other cryptos, like for example Quant, are doing extremely well at the moment, and also Algorand. All right, so hopefully you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, please subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.